What's going on, you guys? Today we got the Voodoo, the flat plane crank, the Shelby GT350. These cars are no longer being made, and I'm here to show you why this is the best deal for the $50,000 to $60,000 price range. First and foremost, do not mistake this car for just being a better GT. This car is so unique in its own way. Why? Well, let's start under this hood. You get a 526 horsepower, flat plane crank, 5.2 liter V8 that might just be the best sounding V8 in all of the car market. Take a listen to some of these sound clips. Not only does it sound that good, but this car is noticeably faster than the Mustang GT as well. But if you know the 0 to 60 in quarter mile times, you would say, no, they're on the same level. Yes, that's because the GT350 only comes in manual, which makes this car even better. This is not supposed to be a drag strip car. This was tailored to be on the track and just maximize the driver experience. If this car had a 10-speed automatic, yes, it would blow the GT out of the water. Guys, we're passing a row of like 85 cops. We're just gonna go about 2 miles an hour here. Yes, sir, I'm abiding the law. Now, this car does weigh 3,760 pounds, which is right on par with the Mustang GT, but because of the upgraded suspension and just how track-focused this thing is, this one also has lowering springs on it, so you can take corners like a beast, but instead of me telling you that, let's really test that out. This car is one that makes me wake up every single morning just excited to work hard so that one day I can afford this. And reason being is because this thing is the perfect mix of everything. If you want it to be super track oriented, then you put everything in sport mode. This even has track mode, and you just go ham. If you want this thing to be comfortable, well, that's what we're doing right now. This is such a nice ride. It's the perfect mix of everything. And because this still is a Mustang, I know everyone wants to start it off with Shelby GT350, not Mustang. It is still a Mustang, and so you do get that practicality side with a lot of room in here and a lot of trunk space. And I mean, really, you could daily drive this absolutely no problem. But let's jump back to the performance side of things real quick. So in the front, you have 6 piston brakes, but the best part is that those brake discs are 15.5 inches. They take up almost the entire wheel well. And in the back, you get 4 piston Brembos with 14.9 inch discs. Those numbers are impressive, but how well does this car really stop? Now, real quick, let's take a look at the design of this car. So on the outside, if you know cars, and specifically Mustangs, you know this is a Shelby. But I feel like for somebody that doesn't know cars, they might just look at this and think, oh, another Mustang. No, it's a Shelby. So the very front of this car is quite a bit different. You have those little pillars. Sorry, I don't know exactly what those are supposed to be called, forgive me. But they do really make this car stand out. In 2018, the GTs have that on the top grille. So, I mean, that makes this a little bit less of a unique design, but still, it looks really good for 2017. This also has a very functional vent on the hood, and that's good because, as we'll talk about in the reliability part of this video, these cars can have a little bit of heat issues, but that's really only if you push it hard. But if you're in this car and you're not pushing it hard, why did you buy it? In the front, you also get a nice splitter that says Shelby on it. but it's kind of undercover. You have to get close to it in order to see Shelby. Now, moving along to the side of this car, you have that nice GT350 badge and functional side vents. That right there is what makes me immediately know I'm looking at a GT350. No GTs have that, no EcoBoosts have that, and the GT500 does not have that. The touches that they did to this car on the front and the side are pretty subtle. Again, to somebody who doesn't know Mustangs, they might look at this and just go, oh, it's a Mustang. And that's kind of unfortunate. They did enough for car people to know this is not a regular Mustang, but they could have done a little bit more. A good idea would be different colored brake calipers, because those brakes are so big. Look at that. I mean, they take up the entire wheel. But if they were super, super bright, that would really help this car out. Now, in the back of this car, you get a spoiler that's unique to the GT350. However, a lot of GT owners and EcoBoost owners will put aftermarket spoilers on. They'll take it from the GT500 or the 350, so you can't just trust the spoiler to identify this car. What you can do, though, is look at that snake on the back. Oh my gosh, whenever I see that in traffic, the fact that we're even in one right now makes me just want to cry. I mean, I think this, other than a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or like a Porsche GT3 or 911, this car is one of my dreams come true. And also in the back of this 350, you have quad tip exhaust. And on the 15 to 17 EcoBoosts and GTs, they did not have those. So this was a really nice exhaust setup for 2017. But hold on, hard stop. We can't just go past the exhaust and not take another listen to how good this sounds. And by the way, those are active exhausts, and take a listen to how much of a difference it makes going from closed to open valves. Let's start an argument in the comments. I'm gonna say this is the best sounding V8 I have ever heard in my entire life, and probably will ever hear in my entire life. What do you guys think? So to wrap up the exterior design of this car, it looks really, really good, especially in this white and black color. But as overall for the design, it just does not stand out that much from a Mustang GT, especially when you compare it to a 2018. So, you know, it's good and bad in its own ways, but I think overall this design is so good looking. It just could have been a bit more flashy than a GT. Now, this section of the review might actually surprise you. On this interior, it's not just a regular Mustang interior. There are some special touches to it. So right when you open the door, yep, the door panel is the exact same. The door sills are a little bit different with that Ford Performance down there. The door mats have GT350 on them, which is cool. The steering wheel has that big ass snake. And I just want to put those badges all over my room. I don't know why I like that so much. These just are truly special cars. And of course, gauge cluster is the same, but the RPM gauge revs up to 8,250 RPM as the red line. I mean, what can I say? What can you say? It's so good. Other than a 911 GT3, what other car revs this high? It is insane. And the seats in the GT350 are also very different. They're Recaros, they're Alcantara, and they hug you so well. You get GT350 right on the headrest, and right when you sit down in this car, you just feel like you're ready to go straight to a track. I mean, this thing is insane. But like I said, if you want to daily drive this, it is very comfortable when you want it to be. I don't know how Ford set this car up so well, but it amazes me in both comfort and performance. Now, unlike the Mustang GTs and EcoBoosts that have the selectable drive modes in the center console, this one has it on the steering wheel, which I've never seen before. And the difference that they make are really, really big. This also has selectable dampers. It has a selectable steering wheel, which EcoBoosts and GTs do have that, but they don't have the selectable damper and they don't have the selectable drive modes, just base model. And yes, the one we're in right now is the base model GT350, and that's why it comes with a pretty small infotainment system, but still, it has all of the performance things that you need. Guys, we're passing the big line of cops right now, and I'm convinced they're doing a search for like a body. This doesn't look right. Oh no. They got the body, and she's alive. That's good. And on the steering wheel of the GT350, you also get a little center marker on the top of the steering wheel that you can see. Oh, it's just out of frame. It's right here. And that just helps you, you know, with orientation on a track. And one of the best parts about this whole interior is that 6-speed manual. You get GT350 on that, so again, let everyone know it ain't a GT. And this thing is very, very tight. It's very stiff. Same thing with the clutch. When you compare it to a Mustang GT, you really notice the difference between the two. And again, everything about this car is just so much more track oriented. It makes sense why this car is like $15,000 to $20,000 more than a Mustang GT of this era, and that's because, well, a lot of stuff is different. It will surprise you. Alright, we're really praising this car up, but as we know, every car has its issues, and it's not fair to just say it's the perfect car. So, the biggest problem with the GT350s are the manual transmission, which is the only transmission you can get. It is very common to experience gear grinding in this car, and I experienced that in this car. Earlier on, I also mentioned that these have cooling issues, which is a reliability thing, I suppose, especially if you keep making it too hot. But I will say, I wouldn't really worry about that unless you're actually taking this to the track like day in, day out. Let me know in the comments if you would buy this car, because, well, if I wasn't poor, I would. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe if you want to help this channel out. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one.